let's play a little game of buy or sell. It would appear from most of the reports, George, that Mike McDaniel is going to keep his job as the head coach of the Miami Dolphins. This is a long season, though, and they're already 0-3. Buy or sell, McDaniel will be the Dolphins head coach at the end of the season.
He's going to get fired. All right. It's either now, later in the season, at the end of the season. He's not making it to next year. So the only question is, do they let him go towards the end of the season here? New York, Carolina, Chargers, Cleveland, Atlanta, Baltimore, bye. Atlanta, Baltimore, Buffalo, Washington going into that bye. And that Washington game, by the way, is in Europe somewhere. So I don't think he survives that. I don't think he's going to survive the bye week. I think he's going to go 1-3 of those games, maybe even lose all 4 of those games. No. And I think they will trade some players away so they're going to be a worse team than they are now here. No, I'm going to sell this. He does not make it to the end of the season. I think they're going to fire him after week 11, if I had to guess. I think it's the perfect spot because not only is there a bye week, tough schedule beforehand, but then you have New Orleans at home. Good place for a new coach to start.
My thing is this, George, and here's why I am going to buy this. I think he's going to make it through the year and then he's going to be fired. Is because I just think it is rock bottom right now. They're 0-3. So, are they going to lose 3 consecutive games again this season? I don't think so. I think they're going to win 6 games or 7 games, which tells me it's win, loss, 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 win, loss, loss, So I just think they make the change at the end of the year. If they're not going to make it now and they're 0-3, the only thing that I would say to caveat would be is if they lose in their next game. If they lose that next game, then 0-4, yes, I think it happens. I don't think they will, though. So I am going to buy this.
Fantasy Sports Today. Fridays starting at 3 p.m. Eastern. Only on SportsGrid.
Oh, it's hot on a Thursday. It's time to rise and grind. This is the Early Line on the SportsGrid Network. A Thursday in sports, which means Major League Baseball and also an NFL night game you're not going to want to miss. You know our job over the next 2 hours is to set the table for your SportsGrid day and get you all the information that you need to know. Donnie Rightside, along with Joe Ranieri, and away we go on this journey today, Joe. I'm excited. I'm ready to go. And boy, oh boy, if bye was any indication yesterday, we're on a roll, Joe. We're on it.
Donnie, it's a pleasure to actually hear and see you right now here. It's been a rough couple days, but pleasure to see you, my man. And a lot to unpack here. Thursday is that day. Football is back, college, NFL, not to mention a big week 4 and week 5 coming up. So we got a lot to get to here.
Passion is what we love here, specifically on a Thursday morning. And Joe, I know you're passionate about a certain subject here. Before we go any further, let's get caffeinated, people. Here comes Joe.
All right, Donnie, let's do this here. Today we have a sports betting lesson to go over, a public service announcement, if you will, Donnie. See, in betting, we have this thing. It's a simple rule. It's called don't catch a falling knife. Don't even try to catch a falling knife. And it means that you never, ever, ever bet on a team that is in complete catastrophic free fall and hoping that they'll magically bounce back and be the team they were 2 months ago. And right now, there is no bigger, sharper, or more dangerous falling knife in all of sports than the Detroit Tigers. Let's put it in perspective here, Donnie. The Cleveland Guardians just became the first major league team to overcome a deficit of 15 and a half games and take a lead on either a division or league play. And had they do it, well, they beat the Tigers again last night, 5-1. This Tigers team had a 10-game lead in their division on September 3rd. A 10-game lead. In July, they were up 14 games. And at one point in the season, they had a 15-and-a-half-game lead over these Guardians. They have completely and utterly imploded. They've dropped 8 straight. They are out of first place for the first time since April 22nd, when the Guardians led by half a game. They are 5-15 in the month of September. They just got absolutely punked again by the Guardians. Back-to-back losses. out of first place, got swept just a week ago. Absolutely pathetic. But maybe the most pathetic part is that they're losing now to a Guardians team that traded Shane Bieber, their best pitcher. Their closer, Emmanuel Clase, hasn't been around. He's been on administrative leave for betting investigations. They had just basically threw the towel in, and now they're in first place ahead of the Tigers. Absolutely unbelievable. This is not a slump. It's not a, oh, well, they'll figure it out. No, it's a demoralized team with no confidence. So the lesson is simple. Don't bet the Detroit Tigers here, Donnie, for the remaining 4 games of the regular season. No sharper knife right now in sports than the Detroit Tigers.
I love it. I love it, Joe, because we talked about the game yesterday. It wasn't even a handicap. It was a team in free fall mode. Just stay away. You either build a case to go against them or just leave the game alone, Joe. Well stated here. Caffeinated we are for this morning on a Thursday. And now it's time for the early lineup, the hottest topics across the sports landscape, which includes Jackson Dart. Brian Dable goes, yeah, it was my decision to start Jackson Dart the rest of the way. Well, I hope it was.
I think
you can't.
Staying ready, knowing what I'm capable of. Like I said, life is about response. I can control 2 things, and that's my attitude and my gratitude. And, I think the other thing I can control is my work ethic and my preparation to be ready when my name's called again, because I know what I can do, and I know, I'm going to do it again. So that's what I'm excited about.
Now, why did Russ get in there? Did I ask Russ the question or Joe in here? Where did he come from, Joe? Where was he?
I have no idea. But why is he still talking? Like, why is he still talking? I don't get it. Why is Russell Wilson saying anything? Just go away, Russ. I mean, you had 3 games, and it's over now. So you're cooked. You're not cooking anymore. You're cooked. Let's move on from Russell Wilson. Take the mic away from him already.
By the way, we are looking at Russell Wilson. This isn't as if he just left Seattle. We have to remember that. I had to remember, Joe, myself, that he actually went to the Denver Broncos before he even went to the Pittsburgh Steelers, before he even went to the New York Giants. So when he talks about how much length I have left in football here and I'm not done, oh, you're done, Russ.
Cooked, Donnie. I just wanted to make sure there wasn't another video playing there, but cooked is what I want to see. I mean, maybe that's the word of the day, Donnie. That is what Russ is. He's cooked. It's time to move on. But thanks for taking the first 3 games worth of snaps, though. We appreciate it.
Unbelievable there. So we'll see. Now, the future is now for the New York Giants. The only question is Brian Dable going to be part of that future here. I'll tell you who's not going to be part of the future for the next 4 weeks for the Philadelphia Eagles. That's Nolan Smith. That's their best sack artist right now. Everybody around the NFL is taking left hooks and right hooks to the body here. The Philadelphia Eagles lose their best defensive lineman, edge pass rusher in Nolan Smith.
Yeah, we say it every year, Donnie. We feel like, injuries are a part of the game, right? But doesn't it feel like the first month of the season here, it's just been over the top with the big names, important players. I mean, this isn't a backup DB or safety we're talking about. We're talking huge names here on a team that a lot of people believe has a shot at running the table here and winning again. So unfortunate across the board.
Protect your quarterback, Joe, in the pocket, but also make sure you protect your quarterback because you know he wants to play football and he might not be ready to play football. But the Washington Commanders say, Jaden Daniels, hey, man, looking good on the practice field. Looks like a return is possible this weekend for the Commanders' superstar young quarterback.
And if it's not, Donnie, this is why it's important to have a competent backup quarterback, right? You don't have to push Jaden Daniels. In fact, I can make the argument the offense looked much better last week under Mariota than it has in the first couple of games there with Jaden Daniels. So I don't think there's any rush to bring him back. So it wouldn't shock me if maybe he's held out 1 more week here.
Look, I was excited for the Ravens defense and the Ravens coming into the season. The defense is a shell of what we thought it would be. And maybe it's just so simple that Nnamdi Madubuike, one of the best defensive tackles in the NFL, a neck injury. We don't even know when he's coming back now.
No, and that's terrible news for a terrible defense right now here, Donnie, that might, and we'll learn if it's fixable, but there were some giant holes in that boat on the defensive side there last week for the Ravens.
If we hang on through this weekend in Major League Baseball, it looks like, Joe, we're going to get Dodgers, Mets, round number 1 in the wild card round for Major League Baseball's National League. But how about this? Roki Sasaki activated here. He could be ready to go for the playoffs.
They need all the help they can get. Although good win last night, I don't trust that offense down the stretch, Donnie. We'll see if they can just flip that switch come the postseason.
How about flipping that switch for the postseason? Yeah, that's Paul Skeens. He's flipping that switch to go to Las Vegas and hang out in Tahiti and relax and collect his Cy Young Award for the National League. A phenomenal season for what? Well, maybe just for personal accolades right now. Skeens will be your NL Cy Young Award-winning pitcher. He throws 7 perfect innings yesterday. Fantastic stuff.
Well, great stuff. And unfortunately, Hunter Green couldn't go toe-to-toe with him yesterday. But you know what? Way to go out there. What a season, Paul Skeens.
By the way, we have a little bit of extra time right now. 60 home runs for Cal Raleigh. How about that, Joe? A catcher. The Mariners win the AL West. My man hits 59 and 60 last night. What a season for Cal Raleigh.
Unbelievable. Kudos to him. Again, probably won't see this for a very long time as a switch-hitting catcher, but that's history, folks.
That is history. You know what else is history, too? Spreadlines coming up after the segment here. A lot of hot topics to go over. 2 hours to get through everything. It's Joe Ranieri. It's Donnie Rightside. It's the SportsGrid Network. This is the early line. Don't you go anywhere. We're only getting started today, people.
Enter into the magical world of McLuck.com, where even the smallest of spins can win real cash prizes. Adventure into over 1,000 of the best Vegas-style slot games. So what are you waiting for? Unlock your free welcome offer today. Join the fun where winners play and players win.
It's the most beautiful time of the year. No, not because of foliage or pumpkin spice lattes. It's because of football. SportsGrid has you covered all season long, covering every snap, every score, and every line move. Prepare, watch, win. Weekends are for winners. Only on SportsGrid.
Remember these names: AZ Fudd, Olivia Miles, Lauren Betts. Depending on who wins that lottery, that's going to depend on who goes what. If Washington wins, it's Fudd. She's from the area. If Dallas wins, they're going to bring Fudd to play with obviously Paige. If Minnesota wins, I think they go Miles with the point. If Seattle wins, they go with Miles, and the same thing with Chicago.
Betting above the rim. Only on SportsGrid.
I was looking at through my phone at first. I'm like, why is there such a delay? And why are we getting pitch hitters right away? Oh, the pitcher got thrown out for some reason. Maybe he hurt himself. But no, turning out and seeing a brawl was absolutely hilarious to let that one play out. Just the way it is sometimes in baseball. We don't get a lot of good fights and a lot of good brawls in anger, specifically from two teams that aren't going to the playoffs. So good on them for showing that moxie last time. But it's good to see a little bit of a brawl and a little bit of that passion here.
The early line. Only on SportsGrid.
If a game is on the line,
give me the Navy kicker.
Oh,
the guy's going into battle in 2 weeks. He can't make an extra point. Come on.
From a mindset perspective, yeah. I'm not. Listen, we thanked them for their service. I love them. Okay.
Yeah.
But the bottom line is, if you have a bet and you have an academy kicker with a field goal or an extra point, you got to hold your breath.
27 yards. You know,
27 yards. The kid shanked it from like 30.
SportsGrid's College Football Today.
Can you feel the heat, people, on a Thursday? There are so many great topics to get through, but so many people say, Joe Ranieri, say, you know what? We just need some information in our lives that makes some sense. And we heard the people. So what we came up with, there's headlines and there's spreads, Joe. How can we mold those two together to get the people the most informative information that we need? How about this? Spreadlines, Joe, making it easy. The headlines with the spreads on the topics in the games that you absolutely need to know. And who would have thought our first spreadline would be Florida State coming into the season after a horrible season in 2024? Why would they ever make a spreadline? Joe, they are 3-0 here and looking to do damage in the ACC.
Right. And Donnie, the problem is we haven't seen Florida State face anybody since the win over Alabama, which was just about a month ago now. And believe me, Kent State does not count as a test for anybody here. Problem is, Donnie, we've seen nothing but Virginia money this week coming in here. And now it was as high as 8 during the week, -7.5, now -7s. And keep in mind here, this has not been a very good FSU team against the number on the road or a neutral site game since 2019, 11-21 against the number, Donnie. And you got a Virginia offense with quarterback Chandler Morris under center, averaging 45.5 points a game. The thing for me is, I know Florida State money is coming before kickoff, and I'm thinking all of this early money towards Virginia pushing the line down, I think it could be a head fake, Donnie, because I think the hope is this drops below 7, gets to 6.5, because guess who's on deck for FSU, Donnie? Number 2, the U, Miami. It's a look-ahead spot. I think once this thing drops below 7, you're going to see a ton of money coming in on Florida State, and I'll be one of them.
Yeah, big time for Miami to get that bye, to sort of belly up and say, let's watch some tape, let's relax, let's get healthy, where Florida State has to play on a Friday night, so at a distinct disadvantage there. It's a great headline for us to talk about. Also, keeping it in the ACC, with Clemson basically falling off at 0-2 to start the season, Joe, the ACC teams that maybe didn't think they would be in it to win it here, the Georgia Tech Yellow Jackets, who knows, Miami Hurricanes, obviously the Florida State Seminoles. They knew they would probably be at the top of the standings. But how about this one? Saturday at noon in the ACC, Duke versus Syracuse. Syracuse had a great close to the season last year, now opens up 3-1 overall and 1-0 in the ACC. They got a legitimate chance to win this thing. That team seems for real, Joe.
Yeah, and listen, I mean, recency bias, Donnie. We just watched them dismantle Clemson on the road. And I can tell you right now, based upon tickets and money, the public loves this Syracuse Orange team. This line opened up with Q's being a 5-point underdog, and we have seen close to 75% of the money in tickets on Syracuse. The problem is, I'm not sure if the public understands that Syracuse lost its starting quarterback, Steve Ageli, in that game against Clemson with an Achilles injury for the rest of the season. He's a big reason why they've had success, Donnie. Over 1,300 yards passing, 10 TDs. I mean, I get it. The public sees Duke as a team that has been all over the map, but that was a hell of a win against NC State. And the public should realize this is a Duke team that can drop 40 points on anybody. My advice, though, bet Duke now if you like them, because I do think this number, it's going to keep rising here before kickoff.
Spreadlines here digging deep. Why aren't you talking about Oregon taking on Penn State? Well, understand this. There are storylines to every single ball game and chances to make money, Joe. Talk to me. Northwestern, UCLA? How about that line?
I mean, Donnie, hell has frozen over because Northwestern is an actual favorite in a game.
Wow.
What? Which is hard to believe, since the last time they were a big favorite against a Power 5 team was back in the COVID year in 2020 against Illinois. They did cover as a 13.5-point favorite, but that might as well have been a million years ago. This team is awful. Now you've got UCLA, who fires Deshaun Foster because they look terrible. But what I'm hearing, Donnie, is Tim Skipper, the interim head coach, he's breathed some life back into these players and this program here, especially with their $1 million quarterback, good old Nico there, that they got from Tennessee. Yeah, listen, Northwestern's been cooked for years. The fact that they are laying this kind of money, I would grab these points as quick as you can with UCLA, because I'm telling you, the pro money's coming, and this number will be gone by kickoff.
Pro money is coming, Joe. Why? Because we're talking about a pro football game next year. Seattle is the favorite over Arizona. Didn't start that way, Joe. Opened up as a 2.5-point favorite to Arizona. Now we're talking about Seattle as a -1.5-point favorite. The public, they can't get enough.
No, they can't, but neither can the pros. I think they're in complete agreement with the public on this one. That's because the public knows what we know as well. The Seahawks have dominated the Cardinals over the last few years, 7-0 straight up, 6-1 against the number since 2022. Kyler Murray, by the way, is a disaster in his career against this team. 2-8 straight up, 3-7 against the number against the Hawks. The last straight up win, 2020 for him. But the story in this game is all about the injury report and how banged up that secondary of the Cardinals is. They also have some issues on the offensive line. So keep an eye on that injury report, who's in, who's out. If you like the Cardinals, I think you can wait until kickoff. You might get a better number. If you like Seattle, bet them now, but know who's in and who's out first.
Yeah, we're going to hit that game full over the next two segments here. But how about the final game we're going to talk about here in our spread lines? That's the Minnesota Vikings going back-to-back, not on championships, Joe, back-to-back overseas games. First, they're going to take on the Pittsburgh Steelers and Minnesota and Carson Wentz, a 2.5-point favorite, Joe.
Our first game across the pond this year, and we saw the Steelers open up 2.5-point favorite, but we've seen money gradually moving towards Minnesota here, kind of settling right at the 1.5 now. I mean, call me crazy. Pittsburgh should have lost to the Patriots, but Carson Wentz wasn't lighting up the Bengals exactly either with his 173 yards and 3 sacks here. Listen, to me, I think the defense of Minnesota going to cause some aggravation for Aaron Rodgers. I would grab the Vikings on the money line now because I do think they deserve to be the bigger favorite in this game, Donnie.
Always get interested about those overseas games, Joe. We take a look at that total ultra low at 40.5 at most outlets right now. We'll see if they can score because last week, Minnesota didn't have a problem scoring on offense or defense here. Maybe the Pittsburgh Steelers come to town here overseas and maybe come away with a victory. But back-to-back games for the Minnesota Vikings overseas, we'll see if that happens and if that is a positive for them or overall a net negative. But they're going to be without J.J. McCarthy. Carson Wentz will be there for the foreseeable future. We got so many more hot topics to go. How'd you like that? Your top spread lines of the day. You are involved. You are now in the know. Let's get to Thursday Night Football next right here on the early line. Frank Reich is the head coach. You beat Stanford to end that season to clinch that 10th win, the hottest team in the country. You can't keep them out, Joe.
So now Stanford, because they beat Boston College last week, we're ranked. Okay.
Notre Dame's in the top 25 today. They're going to have 10 straight victories. There's no way they stay out. Now, are you telling me that they're going to get tripped up by NC State?
NC State's undefeated.
still there? I don't even know.
NC State, Dave Torrance there.
SportsGrid's College Football Today.
Mike McDaniel got a personal victory.
Yeah, he get fired on the tarmac. Okay, I can go
yeah.
back. Yeah.
Well, this has been my take on the Dolphins. I think you'll agree. The more they lose, Tyreek Hill becomes the most important player in football because Tyreek Hill getting traded becomes likelier and likelier.
Yeah.
And Don, he's not going to get traded to the Cleveland Browns.
Correct.
This is a guy who's going to shift Super Bowl markets if he is dealt.
Pro Football Today, only on SportsGrid.
NFL season with about 750,000 downloads. Really interesting when you look at the third and the fourth spot. You have Bet365 and Fanatics, which were, again, that first week, they were the only sports books that grew. The good news for the other sports books in terms of downloads this week is even when you take out Fanatics and Bet365, app downloads still grew about 20% across the board overall.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
They had clearly in hand at the end, especially in the second half, and yet somehow they managed a shank of a 60-yard field goal, and a flag comes in with no time left, Donnie, for a penalty. Do you want to know how many times that penalty of leverage was called all last season? Want to take a guess?
How many?
4.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
Thursday Night Football NFC West battle tonight, Joe Ranieri, Seattle and Arizona. We'll line this game up in just a few moments, but I love Thursday Night Football. But more importantly, Joe, I like Thursday Night meaningful football. The NFC West looks like it's going to be a very competitive conference, and maybe it's just, Joe, who can just stay healthy throughout the season. A lot of damaging blows to injuries to multiple teams here, which leads us with 2 2-1 football teams on this Thursday night. And as Joe pointed out during his spread lines, boy, we had a favorite here for the Arizona Cardinals early in the week. That's now completely shifted over to Seattle, who is a 1.5-point favorite at just about everywhere you're shopping. A total listed at 43.5. Thursday Night Football, always tough for the road team, but the question is, the heartbeat of that offense for Arizona isn't Kyler Murray. It's not Harrison at wide receiver. It was James Conner. He's down for the season. Somebody's got to step up. How do we feel, Joe, first, about the line moving from a favorite to Arizona over to a favorite for Seattle?
Well, Donnie, I talked to a lot of guys this week, and a ton of them in their numbers and their power rankings had the Seahawks at close to a 5-point favorite in this game heading into it. So the fact that they were able to get him as a dog, it's no wonder why the line is flipped, because this is truly one of those games where the wrong team was favored to start with. And you're right, though, on a short week, you and I have talked about it. It's all about, I got to look at the home team before I look at anything here because of the travel that's involved in the short week. The road teams are always at a disadvantage. Except for Seattle under Mike McDonald. They're 8-1 straight up and 5-3 against the number when playing away from home. So they are absolutely, and by the way, when they're playing as road underdogs of less than a touchdown, they've been even better. Jonathan Gannon, we already mentioned, they've had a hard time beating this Seattle team, whether it's in Seattle or in Arizona. I think the line was a little mispriced to begin with. I think you can still get the Seahawks. I don't think it goes to 3, but I do think it's going to continue to go to the Seahawks.
And also, you take a look at like who you play sometimes, right? You saw the opening game against Seattle, which I thought they could win that game. Didn't end up winning against the 49ers. Gutsy performance, though, at Pittsburgh, and then absolutely blowing the doors off a bad Saints team. Then you look at Arizona. It sounds like, they're 2-1. That's fantastic. But do you see the first 2 games they had? It's like, you're supposed to win those. And then in a game where San Francisco had backup quarterback after backup, wide receiver after backup tight end, backup offensive line, and they lost that football game, and they lost maybe one of the best parts of their offense in Conner. So I do agree with that line movement on the surface. I think you're right. Like, Seattle's the better football team, but it is always hard to win football games on the road. Tempo-wise, Joe, in this game, 43.5 as a total. Any quick looks on that?
Yeah, well, Seattle is not going to play at a fast tempo. They're not going to hurry up and get to the line of scrimmage and try to give, Sam Darnold an opportunity to beat him. They're going to pound, they're going to ground, and they're going to pound, and they're going to force the other team to do just that as well. They have been fantastic against the rush, and they have been very good against the pass thus far here. And Kyler Murray, well, which Kyler Murray shows up? The one that looked pretty good in the first half of games, or the one that eventually incomplete passes when under 2 minutes to go, you give the ball back and voila, you lose the game. So kind of tough to trust Kyler Murray and Gannon right now, since they never win these games when it matters in conference, in division play at home here, especially against Seattle.
Yeah, I'm going to get to Kyler Murray in just a few moments here, because I do think there's an angle I like to play in this game. But we all love the touchdown market props here, and you're entering into this game. And we talked about it earlier in the week already, Joe. You look at James Conner. 1st and goal at the 3. Whose football is that? James Conner's. Like, okay, well, if I want to take Marvin Harrison Jr. or somebody else, I'm not going to, that price is going to be at a premium because we think the touchdowns will get chewed up by Conner. He's not there in this game. So now we take a look at Trey Benson at a plus 105 price, Trey McBride at a plus 165 price, Marvin Harrison Jr. at a plus 190 price. If we start with the Arizona Cardinals touchdown market here, who would you go to with Conner out now?
Well, it's funny. We saw McBride finally get in the end zone last week against the 49ers, right, for him. So he has been a target, but I don't think he's going to be the focus here for Arizona. I think Benson needs to be involved in this game, Donnie. They are going to have to feed him the ball a lot. I think they are also anytime they're inside the 5, they're going to give him an opportunity to punch that in and try and own that line of scrimmage. So I think that's good value with him.
Yeah, it should be interesting to see, again, if he can be more of that goal line back, but also understanding more of that 1st, 2nd, and 3rd down back, which means extra opportunities. In the next segment, we're going to dive in a little bit deeper to those numbers for Kyler Murray and also Trey Benson here. But we'll set the table for this, Joe. You don't have to answer, because I'm just going to have you think about this over the break. Kenneth Walker III is a plus 105 price to score an anytime touchdown. Zach Charbonnet, which had a full practice this week, he's at a plus 190. Can you trust either one of these running backs, or is it all Kenneth Walker in this game? Much more on Thursday Night Football right here on the Early Line.
Frank Reich is the head coach. You beat Stanford to end that season, to clinch that 10th win, the hottest team in the country. You can't keep them out, Joe.
So now Stanford, because they beat Boston College last week, okay.
Notre Dame's in the top 25 today. They're going to have 10 straight victories. There's no way they stay out. Now, are you telling me that they're going to get tripped up by NC State?
NC State's undefeated.
Still there? I don't even know.
NC State, Dave Torrance there.
SportsGrid's College Football Today.
Mike McDaniel got a personal victory.
Yeah, he get fired on the tarmac. Okay, I can
yeah.
go back. Yeah.
Well, this has been my take on the Dolphins. I think you'll agree. The more they lose, Tyreek Hill becomes the most important player in football. Because Tyreek Hill getting traded becomes likelier and likelier.
Yeah.
And Don, he's not going to get traded to the Cleveland Browns.
Correct.
This is a guy who's going to shift Super Bowl markets if he is dealt.
Pro Football Today, only on SportsGrid.
NFL season with about 750,000 downloads. Really interesting when you look at the third and the fourth spot. You have Bet365 and Fanatics, which were, again, that first week, they were the only sports books that grew. The good news for the other sports books in terms of downloads this week is even when you take out Fanatics and Bet365, app downloads still grew about 20% across the board overall.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
They had clearly in hand at the end, especially in the second half, and yet somehow they managed a shank of a 60-yard field goal, and a flag comes in with no time left, Donnie, for a penalty. Do you want to know how many times that penalty of leverage was called all last season? Want to take a guess?
How many?
4.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
Keeping it simple sometimes is usually the most effective way to handicap it, right, Joe? Don't go over your skis here. Don't overthink yourself. If you think there's going to be a touchdown score, don't worry so much about the price, but more of the handicap here. The reason I bring this up is Kenneth Walker got a lot of the burn last week, and rightfully so. Why? Zach Charbonnet didn't play because he was injured. Quick work week this week and say, okay, they're going to play on a Thursday. Chances are Zach Charbonnet doesn't play in this game either, but did get a full practice in it. Whenever the odds markets pop up that you have a line of Charbonnet to score an anytime touchdown to plus 190, it seems like a pretty good price if he was fully healthy, but we actually don't know that. So playing the running back market, Joe, from a Seattle perspective, is it all Kenneth Walker, or, hey, if Charbonnet's going to get carries, why not be able to punch a ticket for a plus 190 as well?
Well, to me, Donnie, it's an absolute pass because I think you're betting against yourself if you choose one guy over the other, because the reality is they're both more than capable red zone running backs here to be able to punch it in from inside the 5, right? But, how do we know? We already know the health of Zach has been questionable all week. You mentioned it, missed last week. So, you go with the hot hand, you don't push it here. To me, it's a coin flip spot. The market is telling you that at that price. I would look for more value down the board, maybe with the wide receivers. What about, Horton or somebody like that getting involved and getting a better price? Because I'm not sure the running back market, I don't know if there's any value for Seattle there.
Might be getting some value in that quarterback market if we take a look at the head-to-head between Kyler Murray and Sam Darnold. 211.5 passing yards listed for Kyler Murray, the home quarterback. The road quarterback, Sam Darnold, 226.5. Approachable prices here. Look at the touchdown market. Both of these guys obviously at 1.5, but how about this? Plus 136 for Kyler to throw to, plus 154 for Darnold to throw to. If you're trusting quarterbacks tonight, not to win the football game necessarily, Joe, but in the prop market, which guy would you be going with today?
Well, it's funny, Donnie, and it's if I told you, if you go to Pro Football Focus, right, PFF, through 3 weeks, do you know who their highest graded passer is in the NFL right now?
Is it Sammy D? Who is it?
It's Sam Darnold under Clint Kubiak's offense here. He has absolutely been way better than anybody has given him credit for to this point. So everyone was so concerned him, but he's getting more and more comfortable here. I think if you're going to back a quarterback in any of the passing markets, it's Sam Darnold, especially with the injuries to the secondary for Arizona.
And if we flip it over and say, okay, rushing yards here, we talked about some of the prop markets here for quarterbacks and also the running back props here to score a touchdown. When I teased before the break, I look at Kyler Murray. It's 27.5 yards. I just think the team itself has to pick up the slack for the loss of James Conner. Also understand this, 27.5 isn't a lot of yards. If you said, well, how does it have in the landscape of this year? He's hit that each and every game, Kyler Murray. I'm not asking for a lot, but when you know you have a running back that usually gets, let's just say 15 touches out of the backfield that's no longer there, yes, Benson's going to pick up the slack, and he's listed at 57.5, but I really like Kyler Murray over 27.5 rushing yards tonight. I think he's going to have to do a lot. That's a good defense that will put pressure on him. And as you alluded to, banged up a little bit on the offensive line, quarterback that likes to run. Why can't he get 30 yards tonight, Joe? I like Kyler Murray's rushing prop here over 27.5.
Well, he can get that. The way he extends plays, it could be one play, Donnie, and you're cashing that ticket. So that's what makes him dangerous. What makes it tough here for him is the fact of how healthy now that secondary of the Seattle is getting. Julian Love, their starting safety back. So is Devin Witherspoon. So now he might have to tuck it and run it way more than he'd like to in this spot. So I'm with you. I like that prop.
Yeah, how about that? A little running from a running quarterback. We'll see how it plays out. Kenneth Walker III, 52.5 yards, Joe. And you take a look at Trey Benson, 57.5 yards. We're looking for a lot of work tonight out of Benson, but the question is, as always, if you're the underdog, sometimes it is risky taking running backs. Not saying it never works out, but in the fourth quarter, how many extra carries are you going to get if you need to get that 57.5 yards? Who are you trusting on the ground, Joe, in this game between both Kenneth Walker, Trey Benson, or anybody else in this football game?
Well, I think it's, if Arizona is going to win this game, they need Trey Benson to have a big game. They cannot rely on, with a banged-up offensive line, by the way, having to pass protect for Kyler Murray if he's got to drop back 40 times here, Donnie. So to me, I think the guy to focus on, especially I think it correlates to any sort of Cardinals bet that you might have in this game, it's got to go with Benson. He can't just have 30 yards rushing in this game. He's got to be more impactful than that.
Absolutely does. And also, when you take a look at the receiving props too, Joe, filling in for Connor, which means more snaps out there, more chances to catch passes. Yesterday, Trey Benson was at a 20.5 price point for his receiving yards. Today, he's up to 21.5, and I do agree with that. Jackson Smith and Jigba, 84.5 yards. Trey McBride, 64.5 yards. Marvin Harrison Jr., 47.5. Is there a wide receiver component or a pass-catching component that you like in this game, Joe?
Yeah, JSN for over 6.5 receptions, Donnie. It's a big number, but he has been a guy that is he's averaging over 7 grabs a game on the year, over close to 10 targets a game. So, yeah, with that banged up secondary of Arizona between him, Donnie, and Torrey Horton, I can see these guys getting some going prop betting market, receiving yards, receptions, getting a lot of work here tonight.
And we got some live movement here also. Take a look at the big picture, right? Because you're talking about an NFC West, two teams going toe-to-toe at 2-1, looking to track down their counterparts here. A very competitive division. The San Francisco 49ers lead right now in the odds market at a plus 110 price to win that. I don't really like them because they're just seemingly too injured to start the season and getting more injured as the season goes. But credit to them being 3-0. The Los Angeles Rams at a plus 180 price. And how about this? The Seattle Seahawks now live are listed at plus 650 and the Cardinals at a 7-1 price. So if you do say victory for Seattle, they're certainly going to move up. Same thing with the Arizona Cardinals. A win tonight, they're going to move up, but a loss on either one of those are going to move down. If you look at the 4 teams, Joe, in the NFC West, who is getting your money right now?
Well, I mean, listen, I am not a big fan of tying up money here for 4 months on a team that's plus 180, but the Rams are clearly, I still think, the best team in this division. But I don't know that you're ever going to get Seattle at a better number at 7-1 than you are right now, Donnie. I think that is the team that is the dark horse in this division. I think it's easy to say to 49ers, because of the schedule, but I think the Rams and I think Seattle, ultimately it's going to come down to those 2 teams.
How about these stats, Joe? Sometimes you can play a little bit around with them, bend the rules, make them seem like exactly which way you want to go, but there's no bending this. Kyler Murray, 2-8 overall against the Seattle Seahawks, hasn't beaten them since 2020. Does that infiltrate your numbers to say, hey, man, They're underdogs. They, forget about covering the spread at 1.5. They better win this game. And Kyler Murray only 2-8 in his career against those Seattle Seahawks.
No, it's been terrible, and it's been terrible recently. I mean, Seattle has owned this matchup here, and I mean, 7 in a row they've won here.
Yeah.
All 7 of those, have dealt with Kyler Murray in some way, shape, or form. Or I think there were a couple of backups used in that spot. Hey, listen, there are some teams that just play you very, very well, and for as good as Kyler Murray can be, this is just a tough matchup for him against a solid top 10 defense in the NFL. It's tough to go, oh, Kyler will get it done. He's never gotten it done against this team.
Yeah, by the way, they're 2-1 right now, Arizona. A lot of teams in the NFL would love to start 2-1, Joe. They play the Seahawks tonight at home. Let's just say they win that game and go to 3-1. Then they have the Titans at home. They can go to 4-1. You know why you need that? Because before the season, hey, we'll go to Indianapolis. We can compete. Indy might be one of the better teams in football by the time you play them on week number 6. And week number 7, that's the Packers. So to make a long story short, Joe, you better handle your business at home over the next 2 games, because after that, those next 2 after that, tough.
Well, listen, they lost to the Saints. I mean, they beat the Saints. They beat the Panthers, 2 terrible teams. And they beat they almost beat the backups of the 49ers, but they didn't. So I don't know what you're going to do against teams that are over 500. It could be a rough season here for Arizona.
Let's see if Arizona can hang around with Jonathan Gannon as their head coach. Stay healthy, boys, is what we like to say. And tonight, they're not healthy, at least in the spread market. They're now underdogs here. We got Major League Baseball to talk about. Cal Raleigh, your new MVP favorite next.
There are right now 10 teams who are 0-2. Every team on this list is 0-2. These are the 7 teams through 2 weeks who have already been eliminated from the Super Bowl picture. First, the Cleveland Browns, who I believe were the worst team coming into this season. The Cleveland Browns are absolutely done.
Game time decisions. Only on SportsGrid.
Josh Heupel. I mean, please, dude, you got to be kidding me. How do you lose this game at home when you've got Georgia on the ropes with a iffy quarterback at best there in Gunnard, and you somehow figure out a way to lose that game? A game, Donnie, of which was pretty much in hand for Notre Dame, 3/4 of it.
The early line. Only on SportsGrid. It's the most beautiful time of the year. No, not because of foliage or pumpkin spice lattes. It's because of football. SportsGrid has you covered all season long, covering every snap, every score, and every line move. Prepare, watch, win. Weekends are for winners. Only on SportsGrid.
The sharpest football contest show in the land, the Las Vegas Football Contest Show, focuses on Circus Sports Million, Circus Survivor, and the Westgate Super Contest, handicapping the games and releasing our contest picks every week of the season. With 2 former Super Contest winners, Brady Cannon and James Salinas, a former NFL player, Mike Pritchard, and over $1 million in contest prize money won combined, the Las Vegas Football Contest Show will have you prepared this season like none other.
Big Dumper was a fun story, Joe. Hey, look at that May, June, and July. Hey, home run derby. Boy, I wonder if he can continue this. History probably says not. And Cal Raleigh doesn't really have a penchant for hitting 50 to 60 home runs in a season. Fast forward to September 24th, 2025, which was last night. Joe, we witnessed home run number 59 right off the bat. And later in that game, home run number 60 for a catcher. And when you talk about extracurriculars, this wasn't, hey, just put him in the leadoff spot. We're a really bad baseball team. Maybe you can just swing for home runs for the final month of the season. This is a pennant race for the Mariners, which they ended up winning their division. He was a huge reason why. 60 home runs for Cal Raleigh. I never saw coming, but I will say this. We talked about all the time over the summer. What do you have to do to win MVP? Probably win your division and also hit 60-plus home runs. He's not going to hit 60-plus home runs. And maybe Aaron Judge hits 60 along with him, and he captures the MVP. The favorite today to be your MVP is Cal Raleigh, Joe. Amazing.
Yeah, and it is. We kind of thought he would get the 60, right? That was the outside shot,
Amazing.
and he got him.
Yeah.
And it's just, again, everything he does from this particular point on is gravy, but none of it is really going to matter unless he can parlay this into a Seattle Mariners run. And they have been playing great baseball, but if they get bounced out quickly in the postseason, and guess who doesn't? This will always be the should have been Aaron Judge's award since, I don't know, he just did something that only 3 other guys in all of Major League Baseball have done, and that's have 4 50 or more home run seasons, Donnie. So this is a tough one.
Now, also understand this. We still have 4 days left in the Major League Baseball season. There's a chance he can hit more and Aaron Judge can hit more and see how it comes down. But we're also talking about, we are a handicapping show. And to put this in perspective, over the summer, and I don't even mean over the summer maybe, how about May and June? Minus 20,000 for Aaron Judge to be the MVP. And today to sit here on September the 25th and say minus 210 for Cal Raleigh, that's impressive. That's a comeback, and deservedly so. Now it's just that, look, the odds makers don't make the votes here coming in for that award. They'll do those stress tests on who they think is going to win. But just because you win the odds race doesn't mean you win the MVP trophy. We'll see if that holds up. And still, a lot of baseball left to go over the final couple days to sort of sway those opinions. I'll tell you what opinions aren't going to change. The Brewers, playoff bound. The Padres, playoff bound. Head-to-head yesterday, 3-1 victory for those Milwaukee Brewers. They pick up the win over the Padres.
Yeah, and it was you kind of had a feeling they would get back to it since they were blanked the night before, Donnie, 7-0 here. Dylan Cease wasn't terrible. I mean, that was the big thing for me for the Padres is, does he remain part of this rotation into the postseason? He pitched pretty well yesterday, but ultimately not enough offense for the Padres to get it done there.
How about the Pirates and the Reds? The Reds are trying to make the playoffs, going up against a horrible team, but they throw Paul Skeens at him yesterday. Now, granted, this game did go 11 innings here, and the Pirates won 4-3, but the Reds, the Mets don't want to make the playoffs, but nobody wants to win to track down the Mets and pass them up, it feels like. And yesterday was a big opportunity for the Reds. They couldn't topple Mount Skeens. They lose 4-3, and away we go.
Well, they may, when they look back and they don't catch the Mets, it wasn't yesterday's game, Donnie, that the Pirates, that Cincinnati is going to regret. It was the first game that they should have won, knowing that Paul Skeens was coming up in the second game. If they would have won the first game of the set, they'd have been sitting okay here. But now they've lost back-to-back games against the last place team in their division, the awful Pirates, and the Mets just refuse to keep, to do anything. So, I mean, Cincinnati, my goodness, how they lost that. They came back and still ended up losing that game in extra innings. Just, that's the Red season in a nutshell, Donnie. Right there, what happened last night.
How about the Detroit Tigers? We don't even want to come to the ballpark. We're too scared to play baseball. Please just put us in the playoffs. They get a 1-0 lead in the top of the third. Okay, everybody, calm down. Let's win this game. Erased with 2 runs in the bottom of the third inning, another run in the bottom of the fifth, and 2 more in the bottom of the seventh. The Guardians won again over the Tigers. An unbelievable fault. Joe, 15.5 game lead. Gone. You're not even the favorite. Looks like you might not even make the playoffs. One of the worst collapses in a season in Major League Baseball history.
No, and for the Guardians who have gone through what they have gone through, and this was a team, again, that traded their best pitcher knowing he was on his way back in Shane Bieber. They lost Ortiz. They lost Class A. This is a team that really has no business doing it, except you opened the door, Tigers. You opened the door by going 5-15 in September and not being able to beat these Guardians. And look at that, Donnie. I don't know that they're going to win another game against the Guardians. I don't think they win today either. I think it's all she wrote for the Tigers.
I mean, well, come on, a powerhouse lineup, Joe. Quan, Valera, Ramirez, Manzo.
Amazing. Absolutely amazing. Yeah, it is absolutely amazing, Donnie, because I'll tell you this right now. If you would have told us 2 months ago when they were up by 14 games, somewhere in that ballpark there, that the Guardians of all teams would hit their way and pitch their way, and that's the key. They pitched their way back into a postseason opportunity here. 6-man rotation and a pitching staff of the Guardians here, Donnie, that has been absolutely lights out. Unbelievable.
Come on, Joe. I'm scrambling over here. Do you see me getting scrambled? We are fighting against the man right now, Joe. That's what we're doing right now to get this
Like
information out to the people. We're fighting. I feel like I'm the Tigers right now, hanging on by a thread to try to finish this show, but I will do my best to make sure I'm here for my partner, Joe Ranieri, at this point. By the way, the Yankees, 8-1. They're going to the playoffs, and they're hitting the baseball. Boy, it's fun to play the White Sox, isn't it?
Yeah, well, take advantage of the schedule while you can, right? Win the games you're supposed to win, Donnie. Everything else will fall into place. Sorry, Toronto.
Let's put a quick one in here. Everybody cashed yesterday on the Red Sox. That's one where sometimes they just hand you a chip and say, Donnie, turn this into gold. Joe, make us money. Yep. We did that yesterday for the people. Yeah, Boston.
Yeah, sorry, Scherzer. It was fun while it lasted, but that tank is on E, Donnie, E.
Yeah, it is on E. Empty at this point, but certainly not empty. Bye at the end of the segment today. Again, more money on the way for your boys. Thursday night football. It's the way we do it on the early line. Hang in there. I guess I'm talking to me at this point.
There are right now 10 teams who are 0-2. Every team on this list is 0-2. These are the 7 teams through 2 weeks who have already been eliminated from the Super Bowl picture. First, the Cleveland Browns, who I believe were the worst team coming into this season. The Cleveland Browns are absolutely done.
Game time decisions. Only on SportsGrid.
Josh Heupel. I mean, please, dude, you got to be kidding me. How do you lose this game at home when you've got Georgia on the ropes with a iffy quarterback at best there in Gunnard, and you somehow figure out a way to lose that game? A game, Donnie, of which was pretty much in hand for Notre Dame, 3/4 of it.
The early line. Only on SportsGrid. It's the most beautiful time of the year. No, not because of foliage or pumpkin spice lattes. It's because of football. SportsGrid has you covered all season long, covering every snap, every score, and every line move. Prepare, watch, win. Weekends are for winners. Only on SportsGrid.
The sharpest football contest show in the land, the Las Vegas Football Contest Show, focuses on Circus Sports Million, Circus Survivor, and the Westgate Super Contest, handicapping the games and releasing our contest picks every week of the season. With 2 former Super Contest winners, Brady Cannon and James Salinas, a former NFL player, Mike Pritchard, and over $1 million in contest prize money won combined, the Las Vegas Football Contest Show will have you prepared this season like none other.
Absolutely fantastic college football slate setting up for this Saturday. I can't wait to watch it play out. But before we get there, Joe, let's do a quick rehash here on the Heisman Trophy race. And if you're not paying attention or don't know college football, if I would have told you a guy, Joe, Fernando Mendoza leads the way in the Heisman Trophy, most people wouldn't even know where he played football at. That's the University of Indiana, Joe. And he's the favorite at a plus 850 price over Carson Beck of Miami, dropping down to 11-1. Coach Sig has got the boy rolling in Indiana.
No, he does. And listen, I think this board, Donnie, is going to continue to zig and zag each and every week. I mean, don't forget, we had the OU quarterback, was the favorite just a week ago until we learned that, oh, yeah, he's having surgery and he's going to miss some time. So he's off the board. A lot of big games coming up in which those numbers right now will be shifting. Keep an eye on Jordan Maeva there, USC with Lincoln Riley, the number one quarterback in the country right now. And he's got Illinois, who just gave up 63 to that quarterback, by the way, of Indiana Mendoza. So, yeah, there's some value on that board, Donnie.
I'll tell you, value this weekend just might be in you sitting down on your couch and watching great football games, which includes the SEC Game of the Week, 7:30 p.m. on Saturday night, Joe. That's Alabama and Georgia. By the way, in that Heisman race, Gunnar Stockton pulls out a win over Alabama. He will move up that leaderboard as well. But however, this line opened up around a 4.5-point price as a favorite towards Georgia. Joe, some outlets showing 2.5, others at 3 here. We're expecting a great game at Sanford Stadium this weekend here. Two big-time rivals going toe-to-toe.
Yeah, but, Nick Saban's not walking through that door anytime soon, Alabama. And, yeah, I think this is hostile territory. I think this is going to be rough here. And Kalen DeBoer, you can that loss to Florida State, I can tell you right now, will be wiped away if you end up getting this job done here against Kirby Smart in Georgia. I think it's a field goal game one way or the other.
Me too.
I would not be laying it down one way or the other with this game.
It's right. You are so right. It's right down the middle of this. And also, Jam Miller back for the Alabama Crimson Tide, their superstar running back. That could make a big difference in this game. How about the whiteout at Penn State? Oregon versus Penn State. Now, usually, Joe, we talk, hey, these big games, touchdown favorites. No, we just told you a game is between 2.5 and 3. Now we look at Oregon and Penn State. 3.5s across the board with a lonely 3 out there. So we're expecting a great football game. Total this one, 51.5. That Penn State crowd is going to be on fire, but can it do enough to slow down that high-powered Oregon Ducks attack, Joe?
Well, I got to tell you, Donnie, this game opened up 6.5 for Penn State, and there hadn't been an ounce of Penn State money yet, driving this thing down to 3.5. And listen, to me, one team has been tested, one team has delivered, and one team has decided to play 3 cupcakes and struggled in those games. I don't care that it's a whiteout. I don't care how many returning stars. You know who has a lot of returning starters? Illinois. How did that work out against Indiana last week here? I think Oregon gets it done, and I think they get it done in a big way here against Penn State.
And you know what, like, I'll stick on this game for just a moment because you're right about this. Like, Penn State is notorious for having very good schedules. Like, okay, we're going to play like Ohio State once a year. They're going to beat us, but we'll rack up wins against everybody else and run up the score. But now you get that whole James Franklin where when you play a really good opponent, he comes up small a lot. And what happens, I always joke, like, if Penn State loses this game and then rips off another 10-win season, they go to the Citrus Bowl, like, James Franklin gets another 7-year contract at Penn State. Sooner than later, Joe, you have to step up. Like, if Oregon comes as an underdog into your building and beats you, are we just going to rely on, well, the loss doesn't matter because you can still make it in with 2 losses in the college football playoff? Enough is enough at Penn State. Win a big football game, Joe.
Yeah, well, and that's the whole thing, right? Drew Allar, okay. I mean, he hasn't looked great against cupcakes here. So we're just expecting him to flip a switch now and do it against one of the best and most athletic and deepest teams in the country in Oregon? I don't know. The only saving grace for Penn State is Jim Knowles as your DC. He was the DC for Ohio State last year and got him to a championship. That defense is going to have to play big in this game.
Oh, boy, Ohio State and Washington out on the West Coast, an 8.5-point favorite for those Buckeyes. And by the way, money coming in on Washington. Husky Stadium will be absolutely rocking on Saturday, Joe.
But again, who has Washington played? I mean, another cupcake schedule here against Ohio State, who had to open up against a pretty good team. Yeah, it's been all Washington money. I'd be careful with this one.
We're going to have so much fun. And 1 hour down, 1 hour to go. Make sure you keep the dial right here on the Sports Grid Network. We're setting the table, people. You got to love it. You love it.